Coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, on the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time, we take a look back at WWE Raw and SmackDown coming off the heels of WrestleMania. We'll also go in depth on this past Sunday's WrestleMania, along with taking a look at the new Fandango craze, along with details on the 2013 Pro Wrestling Report draft. All that including this week's Event Center and Diamond of the Ring right here, right now on PWR Prime Time Saturday night. Gentlemen, the Pro Wrestling Report, prime time Saturday night on My 24 Milwaukee. Damian Nelson sitting here alongside David Octavius, the Tiberius, the alleged backyard one-time knockout divas, straight-edge hardcore Hall of Famer hero. And dang, it feels good to be back here on My 24 from the studio, but it felt damn good to be in Times Square last Saturday night.
You know, the most impressive thing that happened WrestleMania weekend in New York was you winning the karaoke competition.
I did, didn't I?
Yes. Impressive.
New York was a great time. We thank everybody who was out there with us. Linda's going to have some information on all the goings-on from New York in the Event Center later on. But first, David Hero, let's get to this week's WWE Report. And the big news coming out of Raw this past Monday night was that there is a brand new World Heavyweight Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, he finally did it. He finally cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase. Congratulations to Dolph Ziggler, who defeated Alberto Del Rio after a matchup with Jack Swagger to become the brand new World Heavyweight Champion. And Dolph Ziggler saying later that would still be his WrestleMania moment. Huge night on Monday.
As well it should be, because Monday Night Raw is still a part of WrestleMania. And was the crowd into Dolph Ziggler? Not only were they into him.
We want Ziggler.
And that was Sunday night.
Absolutely.
At MetLife. It might have been one of the louder chants we heard Sunday night. It carries over big time on the Saturday. And when Ziggler's music hit and he takes that briefcase and cashed it in, the crowd went, as Pat Patterson would say, banana.
You know, it's funny. For some reason, on Sunday night at WrestleMania, it was clear that Ziggler would not cash in. I sort of displaced it from my head, but thought about it. I'm like, well, this would actually make more sense tomorrow night on Raw. Didn't think about it again. I was surprised when his music hit. It never crossed my mind. And it was the perfect setup. Alberto Del Rio, leg injured. Doctors tending to him. I found it odd that the doctors had tended to him so quickly. But again, David, as you talked about on the Wednesday edition, it's sometimes, right in front of you.
Absolutely, and it was. And the cool thing is the false finishes in that cash-in match.
It wasn't just a new champ.
I mean, he had to work to get it. And Del Rio came across as a fighting champion that eventually had no more gas left in the tank.
It was brilliantly done. Dolph Ziggler, again last night on SmackDown, gets a big win over Chris Jericho. And out at ringside during that matchup is none other than Fandango.
You know, that eats up way too much time. You know that? We only have 27 minutes here.
What's next for Alberto Del Rio?
I think right now he has to take a little bit of time off of TV. I think he has to heal up that injured leg, come back a little refreshed. I mean, he's been running pretty hard, for the last, 6 to 8 months to a year. And take him off TV at least for a week or two. I mean, obviously he'll get the rematch with Dolph Ziggler at Extreme Rules. I'm sure they'll figure something in there. It might be a triple threat or a four-way or whatnot.
Swagger is looking for that rematch as well, though.
Well, but Swagger, I think he's done.
Well, we saw him on SmackDown last night.
Right, but they had to. I mean, it'll be slowly he will go away.
Dolph Ziggler's endorsed, of course, which means he's part of the recognized symbol of excellence in professional wrestling, the Nelson family. And this moment, his time, finally now. This has been a long time in the making,
but
David.
You know what? But yes.
Is this where you talk about how small Ziggler is?
No, not at all. Not at all. What it is we don't know what goes up through the minds of that office. I mean, remember when Christian won a couple years ago?
Oh, yeah.
And everybody was, oh my God, finally.
Yeah.
and then he lost it right away.
Yeah. But arguably, a lot of reaction was happening in WWE this week to the audience reaction to what they were putting out there. One of the things that was clear is the fans have not just last Sunday and Monday, but they wanted Ziggler for a very long time. He's got much more fan reaction than Alberto Del Rio. We talked about that Wednesday night. He's got, I wouldn't say more, but obviously a different following than that of a Jack Swagger. So Ziggler could be your guy on SmackDown.
But here's the thing. The women think Ziggler's sexy or hot or cute or whatever. Guys think he's cool. They want to be.
Even though he stole our girlfriend.
Remember, we talk about sometimes the fans want to be that talent.
Yeah.
How many of them wanted to be Jack Swagger? How many of them wanted to be Del Rio? I think more people want to be Ricardo Rodriguez than Alberto Del Rio.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Ours have culture then.
Exactly.
Jack Swagger.
So, I mean, Dolph Ziggler is the right guy. He has the look like he just walked off of a magazine. He could be the guy on the cover of GQ.
Tiger Beat?
Or whatever. I mean, if that's what you read, that's fine.
Still out, you know.
But it's the right thing for business. And the great thing is that crowd in the Izod Center was so loud that the people at home are thinking, hey, I'm going to cheer for this guy too.
Because it's so easy to follow.
And exactly, and that's what happens.
Well, additionally on Raw this past Monday night, a new Intercontinental Champion was crowned as Wade Barrett won his
was he really
Intercontinental
new?
Championship back.
I mean, he just lost it for less than 24 hours.
24 hours before losing it to The Miz on the pre-show at WrestleMania.
He's endorsed too, right? The Miz?
Wade Barrett? The Miz is endorsed, yeah.
How's his career doing?
He won a championship belt just this past Sunday.
You know, I understand he's undefeated at WrestleMania.
The Miz is.
He could face Taker next year, streak versus streak.
That's likely not going to happen. Wade Barrett back with the Intercontinental Championship. Though David Hero, was surprised.
No,
pleasurably.
I'm not, and I loved it because it was a strong win for Wade Barrett.
Yeah.
I mean, he knocked the Miz's head off.
Absolutely.
So now, from Wade Barrett losing all these non-title matches leading up to WrestleMania, boom, now he has a reset. And he had a strong victory over the Miz, who's a babyface fan favorite that you obviously like. And it was convincing.
I like
now,
the heel.
now they can get Wade Barrett back on track and be the guy that everyone believes he can be.
Big story coming out of this Monday's Raw as well. John Cena attacked by Ryback after his matchup with Mark Henry. It looks as if the rules will be extreme between these two men coming up in the next WWE
it has to
pay-per-view.
be an Extreme Rules match because Ryback is limited. Okay, he's
Limited in being able to win on a pay-per-view?
No, limited. Well, he hasn't really won on a pay-per-view in a long time.
Exactly.
But he's limited with the fact that him and John Cena aren't going to have a wrestling match. If you thought that Mark Henry versus Ryback was hard to watch, John Cena is a better in-ring performer than Mark Henry, but he'd have to carry Ryback for at least 15 to 20 minutes. If you put him in an Extreme Rules type match where there's gimmicks involved, where they can hide flaws, that's the best way to do it. Not surprised Ryback is getting this. I mean, he has been a top guy, but the last 4 pay-per-views has been screwed over. So now they need to get some steam behind him because let's face it, Brock Lesnar's taking time off. Triple H is going to be taking time off. Taker might show up at least for the next month because of the deal with the Shield. And The Rock is gone. So now they got to once again reinvest into their own talent, and that's what they have to do is reinvest in Ryback.
It was a Raw where there was no Rock, no CM Punk, no Triple H, no Brock Lesnar. But the real stars, at least in a lot of people's opinions, were the audience, the crowd. But David, my question is, was it really as great as everyone is making it out to be? They were awesomely energetic all night long.
Now you're being that guy. We complain about how the fans will sit on their hands.
I've never complained about that.
Yes, you. Oh my good God Almighty, you have.
The crowd helped the show. This crowd helped the show this past Monday night.
This crowd made Raw seem just as big as WrestleMania.
They did.
Because they were so loud. It happened last year in Miami.
Absolutely.
The same audience, the same crowd.
Heavy international audience, a lot of people who don't get a chance to see Raw on a regular basis. It's almost like they went over to the UK, and at one point, JBL saying, are we in Canada? But another thing JBL said, which was key and which bothered me about the audience, was he said, Randy Orton is about ready to RKO about 16,000 people right now. I found it obnoxious during that matchup, the random chants that were going on. Just within that matchup, just chanting Cotton Candy Man, whatever else they were saying. I thought it was disrespectful. Sure, they were having fun, great, but you had two men giving you all they could in the middle of the ring, at that moment.
But
and it was
the
ignored.
focus was still on the match. It's just the noise.
Whose focus?
The TV cameras, the focus was
Correct.
still on the match.
Yes.
But
I did mute it at one point, to be honest with you.
Really?
It got that obnoxious to me during that matchup, yes. Now, once they started humming Fandango, they got me back.
What happened?
Da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Of course.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
I understand
You
that
know,
song is
did
blowing
you
up
watch
on
Wednesday
iTunes.
night's edition of Primetime online?
I dozed off.
Ha! Well, we've got a clip. There was a big announcement.
I'm sure there
and a big
was.
performance on this past Wednesday night. We're going to take that just after this timeout, but still to come as well. Ladies and gentlemen, here on Pro Wrestling Report Primetime, we go in-depth looking back at last Sunday's WrestleMania, the Fandango craze that is sweeping the nation, this week's TNA Report, and details on the 2013 PWR Draft. All that along with the Event Center. But first, this week's Diamond of the Ring when we come back right here on My 24 Milwaukee.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, the insurance company may try to stop you from getting what's fair.
After my car wreck, the insurance company tried to stop me from getting what was fair. I called Gruber Law Offices.
Be careful. Call us right away.
They better be careful. Now I've got Gruber Law Offices.
Call us. Let us get started on your case right now.
They green-lighted my case and got me $100,000.
Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Call 276-6666.
Hi everybody, this is good old JR Jim Ross, WWE Hall of Famer, and you're watching Damon Nelson and David Hero on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Congratulations again to the Nelson family for winning the 2012 PWR Draft.
This week's Robert Hack Diamond of the Ring is not the new IC champion Wade Barrett. It's not the new world champion Dolph Ziggler. It's not the new WWE champion John Cena. No. It is that crazy, ridiculous, obnoxious crowd at the Izod Center Monday night that helped make bigger stars out of Fandango and Dolph Ziggler. This week's Robert Hack Diamonds of the Ring, the Izod Center fans at Raw.
Welcome to the PWR Event Center, brought to you by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. PWR would like to thank everyone who attended the PWR Hall of Fame ceremony last Friday night in New York City, where Demolition and King Kong Bundy were inducted into the inaugural class. It was a very special event, and we look forward to our next ceremony. We'd also like to thank the nearly 1,000 of you who participated in the shenanigans in the concrete jungle on WrestleMania Eve. It was an amazing event with surprise appearances by Roderick Strong, Eddie Edwards, Johnny Fairplay, Mickey James, Serena Deeb, and even Jonathan Coachman from ESPN. Stay tuned for details on Shenanigans 2014 coming this summer. GLCW returns to Circle B Recreation next Saturday night, April 20th, with a huge show featuring Robbie E., Mr. Anderson, and Tommy Dreamer. Tickets are available now at blizzardbrawl.com. That's it for this week's Event Center presented by Gruber Law Offices, and we'll see you at the matches.
Thank you so much, Linda Kay over in Studio X, and David Hero. It's time now to talk about WrestleMania. Well, let's go in depth.
How
if
many
you will.
studios do we have? She
A
was
lot.
in Q on Wednesday, X now.
Let's go in depth, talk about WrestleMania this past Sunday on pay-per-view. And the biggest news coming out of that was a brand new WWE champion in John Cena. John Cena defeats The Rock 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. And we would later find out that The Rock tore some abdominal muscles.
He tore his
early on in
abductor
that
off his
matchup.
pelvic bone.
Wrestled for about 15 minutes after, and then, as we talked about on Hot Tag last night, went and immediately saw his doctors because he has millions to protect in his brand. But this match, the headliner of WrestleMania.
And it was a headlining match. I mean, it was the two biggest stars in the company going toe-to-toe, and it was better than last year's match.
Yeah.
I thought it told a better story. I mean, there were times when you thought The Rock was going to beat John Cena again. And then, of course, John Cena teases to go for the same mistake.
When it was The Rock making that
When
mistake.
it was The Rock that made the mistake this time.
Told a great story. One year later.
It did tell a great story.
Did it button it up as much as they needed to in the feud between these two men?
Yes. As far as I'm concerned, it's one apiece, and I believe The Rock is done.
Can there be a third match?
No. They don't need it.
They don't need it.
They don't need it. I mean, I mean, let The Rock go and get healed up and do his movies and be the goodwill ambassador for the company that we know he can be, and let John Cena now go on and being that other face on Mount Rushmore.
Another matchup at WrestleMania that was one of the headlining main events. Brock Lesnar in a losing effort to Triple H. Triple H would suffer second-degree burns due to an incident with dry ice before he even got to the ring as part of his entrance, and then would suffer an arm injury, legit arm injury, after the matchup, during the matchup rather. Brock Lesnar knocked silly during the first few minutes of the matchup. This one was tough for these men. Triple H gets the win, but injuries for both coming out of Mania.
Those two guys are professionals. They're fighters. They're wrestlers. That match was everything we had hoped we were going to see. Two guys beating each other up, punching and kicking, and just, you had the stairs involved. You had a sledgehammer involved. You had a super kick from Shawn Michaels. You had Paul Heyman involved. It was the fight that the fans wanted, and we got it.
And what's being called the match of the night, CM Punk versus The Undertaker. Would it end with 20 and Punk or 21-0? Well, it would be 21-0, ladies and gentlemen, as The Undertaker defeated CM Punk, but CM Punk coming out of that matchup with a pretty substantial knee injury, the scope of which not fully known at this time.
Well, of course he got hurt. I mean, Undertaker gave him 2 tombstones, and then, of course, dropping the elbow onto the Spanish announce table with no give.
Yeah.
I think that's where he hurt his knee.
Yep.
But there's a bigger story than all of that. I mean, we know Undertaker won.
The streak continues and nobody cares.
The streak continues, and you're going to get a tattoo of Superman because that was the wager we had. The bet was made. Legal has looked into it. They have sided once again with me. And it's a matter of time. We are going to. Whoa, no. You're not going to say anything yet. We're going to get that tattoo done the week of the draft. So it gives you time to build up that bicep muscle, get it all shined up and waxed and whatever you had to do so your arm looks pretty, because we're going to, throw a little bit of ink on there.
I want to make a couple things clear. Firstly, I am not a crook. Secondly, I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Ms. Lewinsky. Thirdly, my legal team is continuing to review this proposed agreement that I allegedly have as it pertains to some type of bodily ink on my
Bro, Cephas, it's been all over
body.
the internet.
And upon further review,
There's
which
no
will
review.
happen next week, my legal team tells me that by next week they will have this vetted, they will have talked to all the people they need to, and I will know whether or not I need to do what I need to do, which is meet the legal obligations.
So we're going to call Maury?
We don't need a paternity test.
Well, you might need something.
No, I'm just saying that I will do whatever I've agreed to do that is binding legally. Okay?
Can't wait.
All right, and
You're gonna
one last
scream.
thing. You're either with us or you're against us. Okay? Get more coverage, though, about WrestleMania 29 online, PWRshow.com, and the Wednesday edition. We do a midweek edition of PrimeTime as well, available at PWRshow.com, where we talk about WrestleMania match by match. David Hero, overall. WrestleMania 29.
29.
Pass or fail?
Absolutely a pass, because you're getting a tattoo out of it.
Still to come, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime, we discuss the go craze. You didn't compliment me on my dancing earlier.
No, it sucked.
We also look at this week's TNA Report and details the big announcement of the date of the 2013 Pro Wrestling Report Draft. All that after this brief timeout right here on My 24 Milwaukee.
Who do you trust when buying your jewelry? Brad Yulberg here, and I can tell you at Robert Hack Diamonds, we will treat you fair and like family. We have thousands of diamonds in stock, thousands of pieces of jewelry, and prices from under $50 to over $50,000. Come to Robert Hack Diamonds for a relaxed and enjoyable jewelry buying experience. Shop around before you buy. Robert Hack Diamonds is located at 76th and Layton in Greenfield, and our new location on the corner of Green Tree and Port Washington Road in Glendale.
Come to Robert Hack Diamonds.
I hate you. I hate you.
Just happened.
I hate
yes.
you.
Yes.
I hate you.
Yes. Yes. Fun.
You're such a prick with yours. God, I hate you.
Da 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 da. Da, da, da. Oh, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report, primetime Saturday night. Damian Nelson sitting
You know
alongside
what?
David Hero.
Everyone out there is going to get that song stuck in their head, and we're going to blame you.
You know, folks, I've talked about it for weeks, and now it seems that the rest of the world is on board. The Fandango craze has swept the nation, just like a broom. We talked about Monday's Raw crowd earlier, David Hero, but the most notable thing they did was show a lot of love for the new superstar known as Fandango. For a talent that was laughed at initially, he is now a sensation with the WWE Universe. David, the question at hand, what has made Fandango so quote-unquote over with the fans?
The same thing as happened with Brodus Clay a year ago.
Somebody call me.
It was the initial shock of like, oh my good God, are you serious?
It's a great point. When Brodus first walked out, I remember it's like...
Yes. And then that song got in your head. And you can't help but, well, I can help it. You can't. Tap your feet and snap your fingers. And it's just funny. I'm begging you, please. So, I mean, it's not what they were expecting, but they got far more than they wanted.
Yeah. Well, is it not another case, though, of, you know, and this is one thing that sticks with me that Vince McMahon said years upon years ago on either a pay-per-view or Raw. He was backstage and was talking about something, and he said, you know, I don't care what these people want. I know more about what they want than they know what they want. And WWE introduced this character, Ridiculous. They stuck with this character.
It's the honky tonk man.
The character kept getting bigger and bigger. His entrance is now epic. And now, WrestleMania, I think, is when that corner was turned.
No.
Jericho.
It was Monday Night
Corner
Raw.
turned. They sailed down the boulevard on Monday night, but the corner turned this past Sunday night, I think. The win over Jericho, the big entrance, the WrestleMania moment. This guy can actually wrestle. And now, Monday, WWE should have paid everybody in that Izod Center a fee because they helped in getting over this project.
And you know,
in Fandango.
Vince McMahon was sitting in the back laughing, saying this is great, because he won. I mean, I remember talking to certain people about this kid has turned the channel heat. I don't even want to watch it. It's brutal. I hated his promos. And now you are humming that song. Senior intern Cal is humming that song. Linda Kay is humming the Fandango
Speaking
song.
of senior intern Cal.
Yes.
Last week, we saw him on TNA Broadcasting.
Yes.
As part of the online edition of Robbie E's show.
Cal is smarter than a fifth grader.
And I thought Robbie E had gotten at least past the fifth grade.
I mean, Cal is smarter than Robbie E, I guess you could say.
But be that as it may, Fandango, David Hero, the question is, it's here now, the craze has swept the nation, but will it take, will it stick, will it preserve over the next few weeks?
Absolutely. Because the send-off he got on Raw with all those people.
You've seen the videos, folks.
Listen, the kids at home watching Raw see 18,000 people dancing and jumping and singing along. Now they're doing it. So,
they saw me dance too. Now they're doing it.
Yeah.
But good.
That wasn't dancing.
Jack it off?
That was pelvic thrust. That was pelvic thrusting.
Merengue.
Yeah.
Cuban thing.
Bachata-ing or samba-ing, whatever it is.
Just doing the Macarena.
You were samba-simba-ing. So it's going to stick. It's going to keep going forward. It's now that snowball effect that's going to keep rolling.
Well, speaking of snowball effects and keeping on rolling, you heard earlier that I snowball effect the draft and won again. You know this thing, David Hero. Winner, winner. We're still waiting for my chicken dinner. Popeyes will be fine.
Not churches? Well, you don't go to church?
Let's go to Linda Kay, ladies and gentlemen, who's got the announcement of the date, the official announcement of the 2013 PWR Draft. Linda, in Studio X, take it away.
2013 PWR Draft will take place on April 27th, right here on Primetime.
Well, David, April 27th, I understand that's the date. You think this tattoo thing is going to happen too. So clearly we can't do that.
No, it's going to happen before the tattoo. It's going to happen on Thursday. That'll give you 2 days to heal, so you're not sitting here whining and distracted.
Anyways, it's time for the TNA Report, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it'd be like you every week then, whining and distracted.
Did you just do this to me?
I absolutely did, because the hand was much more interested in what you were saying than these ears. Let's go to this week's TNA Report, ladies and gentlemen. I am on a week where I have won the 2012 PWR Draft. I am as excited to be welcoming back to TNA Impact Wrestling, a man we saw last week, and then again this past Thursday night. Petey Williams, David Hero, the Canadian Destroyer, one of the greatest talents in the X division.
With an amazing finisher.
The best finisher in the history of professional wrestling, in my opinion.
Better than the People's Elbow?
Absolutely better. People's Elbow is not a beautiful move, it's a fun move. The Canadian Destroyer is a move that can be dissected on
You have to watch it over and over and over again.
Exactly, to see how they did it. But it's fantastic. Welcome back, Petey Williams. Shoring up the X Division is what TNA is definitely doing, especially since it was announced that Chris Sabin is also coming back soon to the X Division. Now, you've got to wonder what this means for a guy like Alex Shelley.
Well, it means Alex Shelley's still doing independence. He's still in Japan. I mean, Chris Sabin, it's no secret, his girlfriend is in TNA Impact Wrestling.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that rumor?
No, it's fact.
Okay,
Velvet Sky, Chris Sabin. Come on.
Regardless, still good to see Sabin back in TNA Impact Wrestling. And this past Thursday night, Impact Wrestling was live from Corpus Christi, Texas. The main event, Bully Ray versus Jeff Hardy for the TNA World Championship. No surprise in the result there.
No, I mean, right now.
But looked great. Another week that TNA looked great on
let's
TV.
face it, aces and eights.
Really? Whoa, Subby, are you not
Aces and eights and Bully Ray.
Are there more of you? Because the world can't handle that.
What do you mean?
Well, there's normally more than one ace and eight.
Well, yeah. Well, we were hanging out in shenanigans together, but Bully Ray is going to be going forward, and Jeff Hardy is not going to stand in his way right now.
Well, big dates announced for TNA Wrestling for their summer tour, Impact Wrestling on the Road. David Hero, they're going to be going to Cleveland, Norfolk, Virginia, many other cities, including Las Vegas, Nevada on June 29th.
That's my birth. We should go to Vegas for my birthday.
Here's the thing about that. No.
I hate you.
Tried to get this tattoo. I'm sure my arm's still going to be hurting.
Of course it will be. Why wouldn't it?
Those hurt. I've heard. Mm-hmm. You have tattoos? You have ink?
Of course I do. I'm a man.
Not a henna tattoo, like a real tattoo with the needles.
I'm a man. Of course I do.
Like Steven Regal Man? Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that has been tonight's edition of the Pro Wrestling Report. Primetime Saturday night for Linda Kay and for that one.
This one.
is Damian Nelson. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you Monday night for PWR Live at PWRshow.com right after Raw. Farewell, everyone.